Hi, this is John. Today we're going to see if we can do a little plumbing repair on an older American Standard Ceramix shower valve. It looks like that. So let's get started and we'll try to walk you through it. So this valve is about 30 years old, maybe a little older, and we need to start by turning off the water to the house. The water supply will be at your shutoff valve located where the water enters your house. Be sure to shut it off, and then since we're upstairs today, we decided to open one of the lower taps in the kitchen down in the first floor. Let a little pressure off of here so we won't have to deal with any water, any kind of leaks coming out. So we'll begin by removing the handle. You either will use a small Allen wrench like this, pretty small. It's either a 3/32 or a 2.5 millimeter, or in the case of this valve, it has a slotted screw, and so we need to have a small slotted screwdriver. We remove the little plug cap that's in the bottom and carefully set it aside. We've covered all the drains. We're not going to lose anything down the drain, so we don't need that. And now we have to find the slot. Okay, I think we got it. Let's see if we can pull that off of there. Hey, got a handle. Pump won't pump because the vandal stole the handle. Okay, now we need to remove this outer trim plate, and this one happens to have a couple of Phillips screws, so make sure you get the right screwdriver. If it's Phillips, it's probably a number 2, but if it's not, then it's an oddball setup. And be careful when you remove the screws to meet any resistance with patience. If the screw only wants to turn a little bit, turn it a little bit, and then maybe turn it back in, tighten it back up a little. I'll show you this. Okay, this screw's a little bit difficult to turn. I can get a little bit on it. Don't want to strip the Phillips slot. Now we'll turn it back in just a little bit. And we'll just keep trying that a little bit at a time, a little bit more pressure, just a little bit till you meet that resistance. And eventually you will be successful in removing the screw rather than breaking it off. Okay, hold on now. Let's start taking these out. Okay, we've almost got them all loose. Thank goodness. Okay. Now, sometimes these are sealed around the edge with either clear or colored silicone, so we'll have to deal with that from time to time. This one I've already removed, so I cheated. But remove the faceplate, set it aside, and lo and behold, we have more parts there than we know what to do with. This bezel, this round chrome-shaped or gold-shaped in this case, bezel protects the valve and it helps prevent water from going into your wall. Sometimes a small pair of pliers might be a good choice of a tool to help remove that. Sometimes you can do it by hand. Okay, let's take a look at the valve. Well, there's the valve. It's, like I say, over 30 years old. American Standard. It's called a Ceramix style, and it has ceramic sealing surfaces on the inside. The 3 screws need to come out. These are slotted, and the slot looks a little bigger than the tiny one I used for the handle, so let's use a little bit bigger slotted screwdriver whenever we have the job. And the same thing when removing the screws, if you meet resistance, just go a little ways and then go back in a little bit. And then the next time you turn it, you might be able to go a little bit further. We don't want to break anything off because then we probably have to tear into the wall and replace the whole unit, and that's not something we want to do. So just keep going little by little. Okay, let's take these out now. Do 1. We do 2, and let's do 3. Come on, out to me. Got the screws out. Now let's carefully remove the valve. And notice it has 3 sealing surfaces. we'll mate those up to our new valve and make sure everything's the same. Okay, let's go look at the parts. Well, we've got our old parts, the gold, and the new parts, the chrome. And that's what we want. We're over the can. And we'll put grease on the tips of the screws so they won't jam up inside the inside the fittings. So they won't jam up inside the fittings. Okay, we'll put grease on the tips of all the screws. Good idea. We want the face of this plumbing fitting to be smooth and flat so the new pieces will mate right up. So I'm going to smooth it up a bit with a little block and able to carefully clean up most of the calcium deposits off of there using a small piece of Scotch-Brite. Just happened to have out there in my toolbox, so lucky for me. Be real careful, don't want to gouge up the surface. Want to keep it nice and smooth and clean and flat. Here we go. Well, did an extra step of wiping down all the chrome surfaces inside and out with Super Lube. It's a Teflon-based lubricant, and it makes them last a whole lot longer. The water spots and they don't rust, and done it for many, many years, and it seems to work really, really well. So if you can do it, do it. If not, no biggie. Okay, right here we have some waterproof grease, plumber's style. I'm going to put a little bit on the threads of the screws, and I'll put some on the face that the O-rings of the valve will sit against, just to ensure that we get a good seal. All right, here we go. Just a little swipe of grease around the openings, not too much. Mostly you're feeling that it is nice and clean, and you've also given the O-rings a little chance to seat in to the I don't know if they seat in, but anyway. Here, thank you. Okay, we got all three screws started. They're going in smoothly. We'll just draw them all down most of the way. All right, let's snug each one up just a little bit, not too much. Don't want to overdo it, but we don't want it to leak either, so we'll check this out. And now we should be able to turn the water back on and look for leaks. I'll go outside and turn that valve back on. Water's on. Let's see what we got. Anything leaking? Now's the time to find out. Nothing's leaking. Very, very dry. Good to know. We're all right. Success so far. Okay, let's put the rest of the parts on. Let's start with the 2-inch escutcheon cap. Let's slip it over the valve. Kind of line it up, and so you've got a little plastic sleeve in there. You want it to stay centered. Go as far in as you can, and that should be taken care of for that. Next we'll put on the trim plate and the 2 screws. Once you get the screws started, just tighten them both up fairly equally, not too tight at first. Maybe adjust so the top gap is the least. We'll put some sealant across that in a little bit. And we'll put the handle on next. Style with the Allen wrench works really well. You can put the Allen wrench in and then apply the handle to the fitting, handle to the valve, and we tighten the Allen wrench just enough, not too snug, but we don't want it getting loose and getting sloppy in there. So that seems to be right thing. Okay. Oh, and we can put this little cap into the hole underneath here. We'll just find the spot and snap it in. We'll very carefully apply and smooth out some silicone sealant around the edge of the faceplate, and that'll seal it up from any water coming down the wall. Okay, well, it looks like it's all in there. We're going to give it a try here next. See what comes out up here. Everything works great. Another successful completion. Hope this helps in the future for you. Take care.